The name Roger Penske is synonymous with success. As the owner of one of the world's largest automotive groups, Penske presides over more than 250 U.S. and international car dealerships. Penske Truck Leasing, Penske Logistics, and other automotive-related businesses have made him one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, and the Penske Racing Team has put him in the fast lane to automotive legend. Recently, Roger and Dr. Todd Thomas discussed what it takes to drive a successful corporation.
When you're looking for a leader in one of your organizations, what kind of person are you looking for?
When I think about leadership, I think about internal opportunities within the company. So we look for people who have had experience in our business or a business that we're involved in, some that we can bring up through the organization. And it amazes me how many of these big companies today have to go outside to get leadership. That's a big fallacy, because you need to know, be grounded in the business that you're going to try to manage. And to me, it's all about people. It's about human capital. And human capital wins on the racetrack, it wins in sales, it wins in operations, and certainly I say it wins in business. I would say that 90% of the people that we move through the organization are ones that have had some tie over some period of time, and I think it's so important to have experience within the organization.
So what sets a person apart as potentially a leader in your organization versus someone who's perhaps very good at their job but really not seen as a leader?
When you look at our business, we have a very flat organization. I think that's first important, because you have to feel comfortable in that environment. And so many people today are brought up that they don't know how to go downstairs, they can only go upstairs. I look at people that can work in a flat organization and have the comfort level to deal with all levels and with all details and capabilities that we might need for them to be able to communicate with.
Some of your business is quite complex. How do you have such a flat organization then?
The biggest job I had when I took over Detroit Diesel was the fact that you had someone running the plant, and yet if the salespeople wanted to bring a customer into the plant, they really didn't want them in the plant. That wasn't their territory. So we want to open up this environment and use all of the aspects of our business to help sell an individual or a customer. I'm looking at the interface with other people on the team, and that's very important to me. To me, it's very important to let people be in an environment where they can fail. You see, one of the things in big companies, people don't want to be in an environment where they might fail. I can fail on the racetrack on a Saturday. I can lose a sale. I lose. So what we want to do is be sure that we have the tension in the organization where people have their responsibility to make a decision at the lowest level. And I've always said, if you're not in an environment where you might fail, you really don't have a job.
How do you handle it if someone makes a decision that's a poor one and can only be called failure?
Well, I think when you look at a failure, you have to sit down with that individual and determine, what was the process? The decision making, was it a team decision, or was it your decision? And as far as I'm concerned, if a person fails once, you work with them. If they fail twice, you try again. But after that, you've got to determine, is he in a position or in a job where he's not going to be able to make it long term and benefit the organization? And I can tell you, many big companies look at taking that bottom 10 or 15 out all the time, because if you don't keep that bar high, you're going to have mediocrity. You've got to be in a position to be always making your pit stops faster. Think about it. In the old days, we could do a pit stop in a minute and you still won the race. Today, you've got to do it in 8 seconds, so the bar keeps going up.
How do you align the leaders to that thought process, to say it's not a threat to fail or to have a flat organization?
I typically have gone out in the businesses that we own or manage today. I've been at the forefront. I want to understand the business from the lowest level. You've got senior management through these bigger organizations who skip through the organization, and you never know where they grounded. One of the things we have to look at is having people in the job and understanding it completely. I've tried to develop the knowledge myself, financially or technically or engineering-wise. I might have someone on the team, but what we do, we're inclusive. We intend to always bring as many people as we can into the organization. We have a board meeting for our companies. We like to bring the senior leadership in to sit at the board meeting to understand what are the questions from the board, what are the commitments that the senior manager or the CEO is making to that board of directors. Because if you're not inclusive and you don't understand the business yourself, it's going to be very hard to manage it.
I would think, with your background and perspective on racing, that you would be about speed and about getting things done quickly. Related to the development of your leaders, and being grounded in the business, doesn't that slow the process down?
You might come in with a certain amount of knowledge from another organization, but I think you got to be on the spot. You got to be in that business to understand. The way we've been able to build this organization is that people come in at a lower level. But when you look at our leadership, we can reach into the organization and take these young people or people that are matured within our organization, and it continues to work. I go back and look in 1970, we had a truck leasing business that had 900 vehicles. Today we have over 220,000. We have 80,000 heavy-duty trucks, tractors. How do you manage that? Because we have a system that people come in and understand it, and we move from within the organization. And typically, I don't remember, other than maybe acquisitions, we've had any senior leadership hasn't been built within the organization. My dad told me a long time ago, it's not what's good for you, Roger, it's what's good for the company. And if the company is successful, you're going to be successful.